Hello, my name's Daniel and welcome back to episode 2 of Corinthians Dream Team. This week we're joined by a current player of Corinthians Saturday Firsts. His name is Sam Ayres. Sam, welcome. How are you doing? You okay?
Yeah, I'm good, Dan. How are you? You well?
All good. Yeah, all good, thanks, mate. So, Sam, tell us a little bit about your footballing history and what you've done in the past and what you're doing now.
I've been at Corinthians now for over 20 years, believe it or not.
Wow.
Which is a long, long time. Had a small spell away from the club when I was a bit younger, but been here for such a long time now. Seems like I'm a part of the woodwork, really. Started off sort of playing in the Borough Com down in sort of Division 5 and 4. And then, the team turning from one team into lots of Saturday teams. Moving forward, we've then pushed on with vets, youth, and good for me, I suppose. I'm still mixing it with the big boys. I'm still in the Saturday First team, so really proud of myself for that, to be fair.
Yeah, definitely. It's a great achievement, to be pushing into that side now. I mean, at your age, you wouldn't typically be getting into that Saturday First side, but you seem to be one of the few that are sort of uninjured and still able to do that. So well done. So obviously your dream team, I can imagine it's been a tough decision putting your players in, especially with that 20 years experience. So what formation have we gone with to start?
So, I mean, I really did have to sort of muddle around, as you just said, for the amount of time that I had to play. But I went for a 4-3-3 in the end. Like I say, I did change that 2 or 3 times because there's been so many players over the years that I've played with that, he was in 1 minute, then this player was in, then that player was in. And it really did take me a long period of time. But 4-3-3 is what I finished up with.
Brilliant, that's great. You're seeing that more and more now. It used to be kind of the 4-4-2, but 4-3-3 seems to be kind of coming in a bit more. You're seeing that, lots more. So between the sticks, who have we got?
So, I've played with a lot of keepers, as I've said there, with all the players that I've played with. But there's one guy in particular that, I've spent many seasons just in front of. And that's John Eckett, fantastic keeper for this level of football. Moved on to his coaching now. He's a fantastic coach as well. But we was very fortunate, to have John for the amount of time that we had him. Again, he's similar to myself. He had a little stint away, moved off to Lee Ramblers, I believe he went to play for. But soon came back because, like a lot of the guys, it is about levels, but it's also about friendship, and that togetherness. And I feel that, John experienced that the same as what I did at Corinthians. John Eckett, absolutely fantastic keeper at this level.
Definitely. Yeah, like you say, it's all about that togetherness and friendship feel when you're in a team. And I think a club like Corinthians does make people want to come back when they do leave. Brilliant. So that's your man in between the sticks sorted. Who have we got sitting in front of them?
So centre backs, obviously, playing there myself for all of them years. Again, lots and lots of different players that I played with. But this was really hard for me because, when I first started at sort of 17, 18 years of age, I wasn't a defender then, but there were some good players back then. But I do put it a little bit down to levels a little bit. And as we moved up through the leagues, the players obviously got better and better. We had a guy called Luke Wilson, played for us for a period of time. Wasn't here long, and his ability was the reason for that. He moved on and moved to Essex Senior League and then Isthmian, or the Bostik League, as you may call it. So Luke Wilson was my first pick as centre half. A leader, absolute leader on the pitch. I believe he's still going, the same as what I am. I think he's at Saffron Walden in the Essex Senior League now, and he's a captain there. So that says a lot for him. great in the air, but was very, very good with the ball at his feet. Comfortable. Loved the diag across the pitch to get us on the break. Really, really strong player.
Brilliant. Well, I know that Luke and John, who you've also got in goal, featured in last week's episode with Ben. So 2 players clearly that have got a bit of a reputation about them and for the way they play. Okay, so who else have we got alongside Luke then?
So again, like I say, really, really hard to go and partner him up. But I've gone for Alfie Knight playing in alongside Luke. He probably wouldn't like me saying this, but when I'm still currently playing with Alfie now, but he really does remind me of myself when I was his age. Quick, energetic. They'll all take the mick out of me now. Quick. Sammy was never quick. But my game was very, very similar to Alfie. Fantastic at reading things, but like I say, so quick at really recover. Loves a tackle. And also with his pace, we see him time and time again run out with that ball from the back. And before you know it, he's come out of his own 18 and he's all the way up the other end of the pitch. So not the biggest guy, but still decent enough in the air. But we play on a Saturday now. We've also got Connor Summerhill, who's fantastic in the air. So Alfie knows his job. He's not really there to get involved in all of that. His pace and his reading of the game is what got him picked in my dream team. Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, so I've got 2 more spaces to fill. So who are they?
Full backs, obviously. Flat back 4 there. My first one is actually another player that I currently play with in the first team, and that's Brad Smith. Left back, constantly gets his place. His effort is infectious, to be fair. He really does give everything he's got. He questions himself sometimes, which is that's good. Because it does make him dig deep and perform as well as what he does. And I think if anyone wants to ask any of the lads on a Saturday, he's definitely one of the strongest fullbacks in our current league, for sure.
Brilliant, that's great. Okay, moving on
to the right back. Again, it's tough for me because it's been such a long period of time of playing with different players. But I've gone for someone that I had a stint with in the Baracom days for probably 7, maybe 8 seasons playing at fullback for us there. He started as a winger when he signed, but moved to right back, and that's Anthony Clark. And he really is like one of the nice guys. Courageous. Really sort of gave every single ounce of everything that he had on every game. To be fair, quick. And you need that when you're coming up against pacey wingers and whatever. But he really, really just enjoyed being there, and he was a pleasure to be around for that amount of time.
Brilliant. Does he remind you of anyone currently playing the Premier League at all?
I think Premier League fullbacks have slightly moved on from what we would sort of say back then, 7-8 years ago. But he did like to get forward. I wouldn't say Anthony was like a fantastic deliverer of the ball, not like a Trent. But he still did like to bomb forward. I remember him scoring, some worldies from that position, darting down the wing and cutting inside. He could use both feet as well, to be honest with you. I couldn't really pick anyone out in the Premier League at the moment, but real good sort of fullback for his time.
Brilliant. The ability to use both feet as well is also a great trait to have. Not many people are able to do that. I know I've certainly only got a right foot or a left foot, not got a right foot. Perfect. Okay, so let's have a look at that defensive lineup as it is now then. Okay, so if you could just take us through your defensive line, Sam.
So, John Eckett in goal. Left back is Brad Smith. 2 centre-backs of Alfie Knight and Luke Wilson. And my right back is Anthony Clark.
So a similar lineup, defensive lineup to what we saw last week. with Ben. So, Sammy, let's move into the centre of the park now. We've got three in the middle. Who have we got there?
My three centre midfielders, again, really hard for all the players I've played with. But I went for Sam Lake as my first centre midfielder. Another player didn't spend too much time with us, only a season. But I played against Sam, played with him in rep games, and that season with Corinthians. And he is a powerhouse, really strong man. Great with the ball, but what he brought was an engine. He was so fit, strong, battered midfields and defences. Very strong player, and he pipped some into those three centre midfielder places.
Brilliant. Who else have we got there?
Moving on from that was Steve Kemp, the General, as we used to call him. Steve now, as he's got older, has moved backwards, and he plays defence for the Vets and the Saturday reserve team. But I always remember Steve as that man in the middle of the park. Never, ever lost a header, this guy. Not the tallest guy in the world, 5'10", 5'11", but just so good in the air. Loved to tackle. We always used to take the mick out of him because he knows himself he wasn't the most gracious footballer in the world, but that's not what he was there for. And if you ask many people, they couldn't do without someone like Steve in the middle of the park.
Brilliant. There was a job to do and he got it done. That kind of
Absolutely.
player.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, and who else we got? The last person in midfield?
So, Sean Bennett is my third centre midfielder, or Benno, as we all know him. Still playing for the club, plays for the Vets. On a Saturday Borough Com level, used to play for some rivals. And has played a good standard, very gracious footballer. The game just, for him, really seemed to go, at his pace. However frantic it may be, he would just slow it down, and just was really great to play with. And he's dribbling, he's turning, trickery, and he loved a goal as well, real sort of all-round centre midfielder, good player.
Brilliant. Okay, so before we move on to the strikers, let's have a look at that team again. Now with the midfield line added in. Brilliant. So 2/3 of the way through the team now, Sammy. Feeling confident that your team is probably one of the better sides that we'll see throughout the series?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, there's some real ability in there. So, quite happy with it.
Brilliant. Okay, so let's move on to the all-important strikers now, the goal scorers, the people that are going to get you the points. So who have we got first?
So first of all, I went for Alan Frost. Everyone now knows him as the hippie guy that plays for the Vets, but I remember him in his A-day. And when he first signed for us, he was prolific, out and out goal scorer, this guy. Pacey, he had a bit of skill about him, but it was just direct and really knew how to put the ball in the back of the net. Really good player.
Brilliant. And who's he got alongside him?
So this got really hard for me because, again, as I've mentioned time and time again already, that I played with lots of players, but the next person that got in there was Nathan Dubery. Played for us for the last 2 years. Unfortunately, he's just moved on. It's a shame for us as the first team, but this guy, I've known him for a long time. But he's played levels, above Bostic standard, and you can see why. He's not just a goal scorer. He's got that flair, that creative play, and he just always seems to come up with something special. The season just gone actually was a fantastic goal scored by him, and we stood there in amazement. Kick off, start of the game, just knocked back to him, bang, and has the audacity just to hit it from just inside our halfway to lob the keeper who's standing on the edge of his 18-yard box. Unbelievable. But he just has that mind for it, and you can appreciate why he's played such a decent standard.
Brilliant. That's great. And lastly?
So this guy, Senna Suave, people around this area will know who he is because he is different level. He's got older now, doesn't play so much. Jobs have changed. Now married, so he doesn't play so much on a Saturday anymore. But absolutely prolific. This guy is a fantastic player. Pace, drive, real ability, and just scored goals for fun. Really, really did. I remember him actually coming over on a tournament for us in the summer. Was fantastic on the day. But what always sticks out in my mind was the first goal that he scored for us in the league. As simple as it sounds, John was in goal. John Eckett was in goal. Big drop kick out of his hands. A big kick, come down out the sky. Senna takes it on the outside of his boot and hits it again before it hits bounces on the ground. First time volley, straight in the top corner. Unbelievable goal. And I just remember thinking to myself, this guy is he's just got it. How he didn't go on and play, a lot higher. And I'm probably, not talking out of turn when I say he probably could have made it professional, to be honest with you. And I don't know the reasons why, whether it was commitment or what, but he really did, tick every box for me as a striker.
Wow. Yeah, he also featured, him and Alan Frost also featured in Ben's Dream Team last week, which is obviously testament to their ability. But let's take a look at that final team then. So this is Sam Ayres' Dream Team. So Sam, I've got 3 more decisions for you to make. Obviously, people who are going to take the team forward to win trophies and cups. So possibly a manager and assistant, or two managers, and also a captain who will take charge on the field and lead the team.
Sure. If I go for captain first, as I said earlier on when I was going through each player's profile as such, some real leaders in there, but there's only one guy for me that gets the captain's armband, and that's Steve Kemp. He's one of my best pals. You can just rely on this guy. He gave everything that he had. As I mentioned earlier, he's not the most gifted footballer in the world, and we all have a laugh and a joke about things like that. But Steve knew his job, and he gave everything. He won us cup finals through his grit, determination, and leadership, and that's why he gets my captain shout.
Brilliant. That's great. He was also captain last week, so clearly a great leader. So in terms of managerial roles, who's taken the team forward to win the cups?
So out and out manager. I could upset a few people here. I think maybe some people can say, "Well, what about me?" Because I've played under so many managers, but my last couple of years have been fantastic under Chris Stoneham. He's just a different type of manager than I've ever played under before. He has the respect. He has them days, when we haven't done as we're told. You will know about it. But the majority of the time, this guy's really cool, collective. He trusts his players, and his success has been there on show for us since he's come to the club. So he would get my manager shout for sure.
Brilliant. Obviously, I've attended many Corinthians first team games and seen the way that Chris sort of holds the dressing room. It's amazing the amount of respect that he's got from all the players, and I think that's one of the main challenges you have to overcome as a manager, is to make sure that you have that dressing room and the respect of the players. So I think he does an amazing job with that. So is anyone going to be assisting him, or is he flying solo?
I mean, I'd have to mention, someone else to fill that assistant role. Again, there's been managers that have had good success under Terry Rose for the reserves. Me and Tel have been, close friends for a long, long time. He actually got me over to Corinthians when I was a youngster. Knew him through actually playing darts, believe it or not. But got me over to Corinthians, and credits to him because he got a few of us over, to be fair. But he doesn't quite make it as my assistant. I would have to say our current chairman, Ben Adams. Really and truly, I would say through his coaching aspects of the game, he does wonders as a chairman for us now. He's heavily involved in everything that happens at the club. But it's because he absolutely loves the game for what it is, the coaching side of it. And he's fantastic at doing that.
Brilliant. That's great. Cool. So that is Sam Ayres' dream team. Sam, just before we sign off, any other comments you'd like to make about your team or anything in general?
I don't think so. Like I say, this really did take me a long period of time to get to this final 11. There's so many players that I could sit here and mention. Strikers that I've missed out. I played alongside Dan Fitch and John Parker. I've got John Bolton-Smith that currently plays for the first team. I could go into the midfield and talk about Mark Page, Paul Brooker. I could go back to defence and talk about Terry Rose that I mentioned there, who's been with the club for such a long period of time, and also goalkeepers. John, I played for such a long period of time, but I've also played alongside Freddie. Used to play for our reserves, and Nathan Warren was with us last year. He was a good keeper, but no one ticked the boxes as good as what John did. I'm hoping for me that I can push on and carry on playing in the Olympian side next year, but we'll see what happens. We've got a lot going on until then, so fingers crossed.
Brilliant. Perfect. Well, Sam, thanks for joining us today. And if you've enjoyed this episode, make sure you get a like. And if you disagree with any Sam's decisions, then feel free to drop a comment, and I'm sure he'll be able to reply himself. Be sure to share as well with family and friends. But until next week, thanks very much, and we'll see you soon.